and welcome to Unlocking Shakespeare. My name is Lucy, Shakespeare expert in the making, and today I'll be showing you how to analyze pronouns and what they can tell you about a character. Pronouns can indicate more than just gender. In fact, the ones I'll be analyzing today are completely genderless. I'm going to be covering two sets: the Shakespearean stereotypical thee, thou, and thine versus the more familiar you and your. First, let's do a grammar lesson. Thine, and its other form thy, are equivalent to your, but which form you use depends entirely upon the first letter of the next word. Saying, to thy own self be true, instead of to thine own self be true, would be like saying accordion or an bagpipe. Thee and thou are equivalent to you, but they can only be used in specific ways. If I were to say, thee art a cream-faced loon, that would just sound weird, wouldn't it? That's because thou is a subject pronoun, meaning that it's the grammatical equivalent of she, they, or he. Thee is an object pronoun, meaning that its grammatical equivalents are her, them, and him. Now let's dive into the actual analysis. Thee and thou are informal pronouns, whereas you and your are formal pronouns. So you can tell a lot about a character's status, depending on which pronouns they use to refer to others, and which pronouns others use to refer to them. A servant would use the formal you when talking to a member of nobility, and that noble would use the informal thee when talking to their servant. Commonly, characters of higher status use you and your to refer to each other, showing that they have respect for each other, and characters of lower status use thee and thy to refer to each other, because neither of them are the nobility that necessitates you and your. So, what does it mean when a noble uses thee and thou to refer to someone of a similar status? The informal pronouns in this context can mean two things. The first is intimacy. When two characters are close, they feel no need for formal pronouns and toss them away in favor of thee and thou. And the second is disrespect. When a character feels that another is undeserving of their formality and undeserving of their respect, then they use thee and thou. Now, let's examine an exchange in Macbeth, where Lady Macbeth switches between the two sets. In this scene, she's trying to convince her husband to go through with their plan of killing King Duncan, so that he, Macbeth, can become the new king, and she become the queen. We will proceed no further in this business. He hath honoured me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon. Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since? And wakes it now to look so green and pale, and what it did so freely? From this time such I account thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same in thine own act and valour as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteemed the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would, like the poor cat of the adage? Prithee, peace. I dare do all that may become a man, who dares do more is none. What beast wast then that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you were a man, and to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. Nor time nor place did then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness does now unmake you. I have given suck. I know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from his boneless gums, and dashed the brains out, had I so sworn as you have done to this. If we should fail, we fail. But screw your courage to the sticking place, and we'll not fail. So, why does Lady Macbeth start using informal pronouns, and more importantly, why does she switch back? My interpretation is that she's using thee and thou disrespectfully, because in the lines where she uses those pronouns, she's berating him for being a coward. Plus, she switches back to you and your when she begins to try and motivate Macbeth to kill King Duncan. Whereas in the lines where she refers to Macbeth as thee and thou, there's no encouragement. Therefore, I believe Lady Macbeth switches back to the formal pronouns to show Macbeth that she'll only respect him if he goes through with their plan. The point of this is that pronouns can tell you a ton about characters and their relationships in Shakespeare's plays. So, keep an eye out for those these and thous.